Hello and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. All right. Here we are this morning and we're looking at two blended American blended whiskey. Two, get it right, American blended whiskeys. Introduced in 1940. This is Carstairs White Seal. Both of these are 80-20 blends, 80% grain neutral spirits, 20% straight, more than likely straight bourbon whiskey. Okay, a gracious combination of distinguished whiskeys of some type and fine neutral spirits. Thomas Carstairs. Now this is blended and bottled in Frankfort, Kentucky. All right, blended and bottled in Frankfort, Kentucky. I bought this in Hammond, Louisiana. Now I thought, we'll get back to that. Here's Barton versus Barton American whiskey. There's Claire. Okay, so you may have this around. There's also Barton gin, Barton vodka, Barton. There might be a Barton straight bourbon whiskey. There's a bunch of Barton. It's a whole line of whiskey. The company Barton is no longer in business because, well, it is in business, but they're part of Sazerac. They got bought by Sazerac in 2009. Okay, so that's the way I should say it. No longer independent. Premium American whiskey, a blend. They have at the bottom a blend. They're required to have that. It's not an option. 20% straight whiskey, 80% grain neutral spirits. And this says blended and bottled by Barton, Sazerac, Bardstown, Kentucky, and Los Angeles, California. So I guess the western part of the U.S., they're getting it. It's being blended and bottled out there and shipped, distributed out from that Los Angeles. It's a very old Los Angeles plant. I think that one was Fleischmann's, I believe, from a long time ago. I'd have to research that. Frankfurt is Buffalo Trace. Okay, so both of these are coming from Buffalo Trace Distillery. So you can get Pappy Van Winkle, you can get Weller Reserve from Buffalo Trace, you can get Buffalo Trace, all the variants of that, or you can get Carstairs or Barton American. Interestingly, they're both aged at least 4 years. It's not just a 2-year, 3-year age. I'm talking about the whiskey. Now, the grain neutral spirit, that's why it's grain neutral spirits. It's not aged. It's just odorless, colorless corn distillate. Okay. The filler. I watched them making that when I went to the the Barton 1792 distillery in Bardstown, Kentucky, and I watched them unload the corn. Then they had this big hammer beating the corn into cornmeal, to corn powder almost, and then they were distilling it, and then we got to taste it, the pure white lightning, and it was not cut with water yet. I mean, it did have a flavor, but it was so minimal, it's virtually tasteless and odorless, and it was you couldn't take much of it. Now they do sell that. You can buy that uncut. It's called diesel, but it tells you don't drink it. It's not made for that. It's made for to use in recipes and to make your own liquor, just like to sell the Everclear. But you got young people who abuse alcohol. They'll take Everclear or diesel and they'll drink it, and then they'll get sick or die, and then it's an indictment against the manufacturer, the product. I was just reading about this wine they sell in the United Kingdom. They call it a tonic wine. And it's actually was originated by monks at an abbey. The abbey monks now license it to a manufacturer. And so there's a subset in Scotland mainly that abuse it. They get drunk. It's a tonic wine with caffeine infusion. And so they get into all this trouble and die and everything. So then now it's the wine's fault. You see, so then you've got the people that are going to make the world better through laws. They need to stop making the wine. You see, now the monks, the Abbey monks, say it's not created for that. We cannot control what people do with the product. It's not created to get blasted drunk and fight in your neighborhood and be a fool. But the person would be a fool even without. So some people misuse products, right? But then now it's the product's fault. And we need laws to restrict the product. So we need to restrict everyone's access to products because of certain people misusing a product. Now, if you think about that, then logically it makes no sense. Okay. But why bring logic into these emotional discussions? Now, so anyway, these are both aged 4 years, a minimum of 4 years. And the Barton was $5.99 plus tax, and I did actually buy it in Frankfort, Kentucky. I've never seen it around here. Now, in Kentucky, everything's Barton, Barton, Barton. I mean, you just see it everywhere. The straight whiskey, the extra aged straight whiskey, this blended whiskey is all around. Down here, I've never seen it. Carstairs, it's around here, not on the south shore of Lake Maurepas and Pontchartrain, but on the north shore in the Florida parish, just for some reason it's there. Now, I said $5.99 was a great deal. It was, but I was at Acuista Paces in Covington, Louisiana, okay, on US Highway 90 business route, Saturday. Okay, let's see this, $12.99 divided by 1,750 times 750. Yeah, 557. They had Carstairs for $12.99, a 1,750 liter plastic bottle. That translates to $5.57 for this size bottle. They were out of the 750 milliliters, but it wasn't as cheap if you bought that. If you bought the handle, it was that incredibly low price. Less than $13 for that. And it's aged 4 years. It's got, I kept saying, I know Carstairs got a little something extra to it. There's some more quality. And I said the same thing about Barton. Well, you know, I said the same thing about most everything coming from Sazerac. There's always like a little extra something better about it. But we don't know that until we apply it. We can theorize it, but we have to apply it. Now, some people would automatically look at these two products and say, that's junk. You just do junk products. Well, that's not true because I got some good. I'm about to upload Founder's Breakfast Stout Revisited after this. So yeah, right, junk product. And I've got all these IPAs in the fridge, all these craft IPAs. So that would break down your theory of the junk product. Secondly, who's to say it's a junk product? Because I've tasted them and they don't taste like junk to me. Now, some people say, well, they have no flavor. Blended whiskey has no flavor. Well, that's not true either. And a lot of people that downgrade it have never tried it. I'll say, have you tried it? Well, no, I would never try it. Well, how do you know it's bad? I just know. Okay. Like I did the Wild Irish Rose Moscato. Not a great product. But on the other hand, not as tragically bad as you might first believe. I've been sipping the bottle down. I mean, 17% alcohol. You sip too much, it's a train wreck. Maybe 2 ounces a day, you know, a little bit. So I'll get through that 750 milliliter bottle. But you cannot honestly say it's no character. Now, it might be mean character, bad character, brutal character, merciless character, etc. But it has character. It's not. And somebody said, well, that's just Muscatel wine, and they rebranded it as Moscato. This is true, but you have to consider that Muscatel and Moscato are just variants of Muscat grapes. And some of the most expensive wines are made with Muscat grapes. So it's not it's really an unfair indictment of that whole grape variety. Okay. And I did find out from experience that what comes from Constellation Brands, owners of Ballast Point and really expensive vodka and wine, even if it's low end, low bottom shelf, low end, it's not horrendously horrible. Now, I didn't try any of the flavored Wild Irish Rose. I only tried the pure red and the pure Moscato. Oh well. You might say, well, it could just be yellow raisins. It very, very well may be yellow raisins that they're using to make the wine. But you've got to consider the but part of the argument. You know what I mean? You got to consider the alternative. Just Stop says, hey, Daddy, what is your favorite convenience store hot dog? I've never had one. Robert says, unless unblessed things have changed, Carstairs is Sazerac as well. That's right. That does not mean they are the same or from the distillery. I'm not sure I follow what you're saying. Hi, Jay, says AM22. Outstanding Cruise. I agree. The cheaper whiskey is decent, Jay. Okay. So my experience is that it's good, generally. Okay. You have that bacon. I had a bowl of cereal. Now I'm trying to lose 1.4 pounds. I try to stay around 145, but up to 146.4. Now, some people are saying, oh, wow, big deal. It's not a big deal, obviously, but you don't control things without controlling things, right? All right, well, let's do this. Carstairs. Am I going to be able to tell these apart? Now, just stop. You're about to, you know what I mean, not be on this chat anymore. You're going to either discuss the topic at hand, or you're not going to discuss. All right. So, yeah, let's just get rid of this ridiculousness right now. Good. All right. They could be from different. Okay, so here's the Carstairs. They could be from different distilleries, even if they are owned by the same company. Oh, well, that's right. Yes, that's true. But they're both saying Frankfurt. So if they're coming from Kentucky, it's obviously Buffalo Trace. And if they're, and then the Barton is also sourced from LA, because I know there was a Los Angeles, is a Los Angeles plant. It might be in a suburb of LA, but it's, you know, Los Angeles County. Ancient Age is one of my favorites. Yes. And I did realize that one is aged at least 4 years also. Most of these blended whiskeys, it'd be like 3-year age, but some of them are 4, and minimum of 4. And yeah, that Ancient Age got a special little character. That's an old brand. It's from 1936. And I was trying to find out, when did Ancient Age, they're both amber, okay? So maybe one is a little lighter. Ancient Age, has been around since about 1936, and apparently the blended whiskey was around as long as the bourbon. Okay, because I saw pictures of very old bottles. So it's just what they always offered. Ancient Age, the Ancient Age Company, which was an alias for somebody else, always. They always offered various levels of straight bourbon and a blended whiskey. Same thing with Barton, you know, so it's not that complicated. It's the routine. Jim Beam, same thing. You got Jim Beam, but then they also started offering the Jim Beam's 8-star blended Beam. Beam's 8-star, which I'm going to bring into this challenge as well. That one has a more bourbon flavor than these other ones. And a lot of people have told me, yeah, that's what they use in the bar room. When you order a Beam and Coke, they ain't pouring Jim Beam bourbon. They're pouring Beam's 8-star. And you just be drinking it and so happy paying you $7. Never noticing the difference. Okay. I want to try that Kessler. I got a little bottle of Kessler. I can get a huge bottle too. Everybody's saying that's the one. That's the best blended. It is aged at least 4 years, and it's a different blend. It's like 72.5 instead of 80. Okay, well, now let's see. Got about 6 people watching. Hello, everybody. All right. I got to get over there to the store and get some salad, bread, and something else. I wrote it down. That's why I write a list. Now I got to dust this whole house. That's a tedious job, but it don't get done if you don't do it. You know what I mean? I'm smelling faint wood, you know, a little alcohol burn, well, 80 proof, faint wood, vanilla dried flowers, even maybe a little sourdough. So that's making me think they're using sour mash, bourbon, probably ancient age, since it's coming from Frankfurt. Frederick Byram says, oh, Jacob Miller says, good morning. Frederick says, good morning from Miami. Skip Keenan says, I really think cheaper whiskeys does not mean they are not good. Kessler is one of my favorites. I agree with that, Skip, but people in their mind, if it's inexpensive, then it automatically is, what do they say, bum liquor, junk, trash, garbage, only a fool would drink it, etc. I'm not here to entertain that. Honestly, this particular video channel has never been about establishing credibility in the beer, wine, or liquor drinking community, okay? It's about tasting stuff and telling you what I think about it. It's as simple as that. And if I taste these inexpensive whiskeys and they taste good, I'm going to say it. And that might seem gauche or wrong to you. I don't know. I'm sorry. Drink Hurricane, Steel Reserve. That's good. Can you compare Johnny Walker Red and Black? Yes, eventually I can. But if you see the back stock I have, it could be as many years. Okay, here we go. Same thing, wood, a little char. Now, are these aged in charred barrels? Well, these aren't aged at all. You hear what I'm saying? They're taking aged whiskey and they're mixing it with unaged grain whiskey, grain neutral spirits, whatever you want to call it. Some people call it vodka. They're blending it to the correct ratio and flavor, and they're selling it. So the blend itself is not aged, okay? They got to give an age statement if it's under 4 years for that whiskeys that is blended, okay? Read the regulations. It'll tell you that. So when they say this product is aged 36 months or whatever, that means the whiskey in there is aged 36, not the grain neutral spirits. That's why it's grain neutral spirits. It's never been aged. It's not going to have the flavor. Okay. Same thing, dried flowers, maybe a little vanilla, a little caramel. It's kind of like, you know, you take bourbon and then it's brought down to it's a much milder presentation. Think about that. I don't want to say watered down bourbon, but it's kind of like that if you added water to it. But they're adding actually straight. Well, it's cut. It's grain alcohol, but it's cut with water, you know. What are my top 3 whiskeys, says Frederick. I really don't know. Okay, let's get rid of that commenter. If you're here to talk sense, you can join the fun. If you're here to be stupid, there's so many channels they'll entertain it. All right, so As far as aroma, they're about the same, and they both smell good. Okay. Taste. So as you can see on smell alone, I'd never be able to tell them apart. Now, some of those bourbons you noticed, I could tell them apart just on aroma, and I got them correct. But these two, no. Taste, same thing. Light charred oak, light caramel, light dried flowers, light candied fruitcake fruit, light everything. It's all light, light, light. I wouldn't use the word bland. I don't think bland is the way to say it. It's light. It's mild. Some people like light and mild. That does not make you a bad person if you like light and mild. I'm sorry. It's just a preference, okay? And if you can get light and mild for $5.99 a bottle, I mean, hey. Now, people are going to say, but that's just used for blending mostly, you know, making mixed drinks. I realize that. But I think in some ways, maybe people are cheating themselves because it can be a sipper. It can have character. It's very subtle. Okay. So you have to sort of let it set in and think on it. And then it'll have subtle character. Yeah, there's the sourdough. It's hard to say, but the second one, you notice I kept saying smelling and tasting like sourdough. Let me think for a minute. What has sourdough? Sour mash. Neither one of these bottles claim to be sour mash, so I don't know. Ancient age is. That's probably why. They're probably using ancient age for both. Perhaps. Probably. Maybe. I don't know. Can't say. The company would never tell you. How many people you think have called Sazerac and asked them these questions? I would say nobody. What's your thoughts on Black Velvet? A really good cheap, another really good cheap brand, says Skip Keener. My thoughts are I've heard a lot about it, and I have a bottle in the fridge. I have a bottle in the cabinet, and I keep seeing the 8-year age Black Velvet, which is about $3 more. I would like to try the 8-year age, but I'm not going to buy it right now. I have too much stuff, but I think I'm going to be very pleased with that Black Velvet, honestly. Yeah, it's a smart looking bottle too, isn't it? I'm looking forward to that. Well, very nice, mild. Now somebody made a comment that the only thing these whiskeys are really is just whiskey flavored vodka. And it's not whiskey flavored because it actually contains pure whiskey. So that wouldn't be incorrect. And I notice that's a common thing people say around on the internet. These are no more than whiskey flavored vodkas. These are no more than whiskey. And then they just keep repeating it. No, it contains actual straight whiskey. It's not whiskey flavor. That would kind of like connote imitation. It's pure actual whiskey, 20%. It's not a big ratio, but that's the minimum. It has to be at least 20%. If you go under 20, now you're talking about spirit whiskey, which some of them are expensive, believe it or not. A lot more expensive than the two things I'm looking at. Like that one from Texas, Rebecca Creek. Go look at a bottle of Rebecca Creek carefully. It's like $30 a bottle. Beautiful bottle. But read what it says. It's like 81% grain neutral spirits. 81%. It's only 19% pure whiskey. That makes it a spirit whiskey. Okay, I didn't say it was bad. How could I say it's bad? I've never tried it. But I'd be hesitant to pay $30 or $25 or even $20 a bottle for spirit whiskey. I don't know. It doesn't sound like somebody I'd want to pay for. But they were touting it up at that Rangers game last summer. Ooh wee. People were just so excited to buy that Rebecca Creek. And I'm not downing it. I'm not ridiculing it. And a lot of people are not going to look at the details on the bottle. They're not going to sit there and study that. They're just going to say, I'm drinking it and I love it. And if you're drinking it and you loving it, then you should keep buying it. That's right. Why not? They got one guy that does beer reviews. He said it took him, he drank Budweiser for 30 years. Then he realized he hated it. Now, you're going to sit there and you drank Budweiser and you loved it for 30 years. Not 30 days, not 30 weeks, 30 years. And then you realized that it was trash. Now, I don't know about you, but there's something wrong with that comment. You discovered craft beer and then you realize, you know, to me, a sensible comment would be like, well, I drank Budweiser for 30 years and I loved it. And then I found out about craft beer. And then I found out that they had stuff that was even more exciting and better and interesting. Okay, say it like that, you know. But, I mean, you know, let's think about that. I can understand if you said, well, you got tired of it or you realized it was kind of bland and you went into more exotic craft beers. But how could you drink something for 30 years and then realize it was horrible? I just don't buy that. Or I'm not buying it. You might be selling it, but I ain't buying it. It didn't take me 30 years. In fact, it didn't take me 30 minutes because the first time I drank Budweiser, I thought, oh, that's okay. Kind of bland, but yeah, it's serviceable. Seems to have certain characteristics that are pleasant. But I'll try a bunch of other stuff as well. You know, that's about how far that went. It didn't take 30 years to figure that out. Right? It's like these two things I'm drinking here. You know, they're pleasant. They're okay. They're nice. I mean, they're not exactly erudite. You know what I mean? They're not exactly something you'd expect to encounter in a $95 a bottle, $95 bottle of whiskey. But then why would you? Why would you think that? Why would you pay $5.99 and expect to get $95 flavor? That would be, it would make any, it would be nonsense. But then there's a lot of nonsense on the internet, right? Okay, like look at the comments I had to delete. Nonsense, childishness. Well, okay, which one's better? It's a washout. You know what I mean? It's a tie. They're both fine. So which, but you see this second one, it just got more wood, more even peppery rye spice. And I know you'll notice that about Sazerac. They got a lot of rye character. And that sourdough, I'm not saying that's better than the previous, but it seems to be a little different. And I think I'll be able to tell them apart in just a moment. Empty Chamber say, hey, how's it going? Fine. Jacob says, ready for baseball, Jay? Yeah, I already went to three games. Last weekend, I went to southeastern Louisiana. They won the first two, and they blew the last game. They were playing University of Southern Illinois at Edwardsville. And all they needed was one more out. They're winning 4-3, top of the ninth. One more out, and the second baseman bobbled the ball and let them score. Well, you know what happens then. You know what's going to happen now. It's going to be a lot of scoring, and you're never going to win it. Last year, Southeastern Louisiana, yeah, see the shirt? Southeastern. Went to the NCAA tournament, but they never could get past Louisiana State, LSU, in that bracket. They've been to the NCAA tournament 2 out of the last 3 years. True story. Okay. I can't afford to drink Pliny the Elder or Johnny Walker Blue or Ceylon Champagne very often. I always look for products that are good values. Lawrence said, going on a cruise in October, sailing out of New Orleans. Yay, need beer? No, I don't ever need it. I just want it. No, I always discourage people, Lawrence, from sending me beer or bringing me beer. There's no purpose in it because it's like I could get a new one every day here. Just go into Mathern's right there. Get a different one every day. I never run out. So I would say, if people insist on bringing me beer and sending me beer, of course I'm going to drink it and I'm going to appreciate it and I'll give them credit on the video and all, but there's really no need. Think about the thousands of beer brands there are, and everybody's gonna, I'm making a video, you know, and then you watch it, and people ask me all day long, you ever tried this? You ever tried that? No, no, no. There's no, you can't even come close to covering all the bases. You can't even come close to covering just a few of the bases. Working a real job right now, says Empty Chamber. Well, that's good or bad, depending on how you look at it. The New York Yankees have too much money. Oh, well. Jay, how do you think the LSU football team will do this upcoming season? Ask me that in June, because I never post my, I'm not sure yet. I don't post my predictions till June, and then I post them on Facebook. So, and I write them down in this notebook that I've been doing since 1988. So I don't know. It's a tough call. All right. This is a tough call. Let's see. I think, and I'm entirely not confident in this prediction. So before I say that, what is the lesson today? Shop, price only, and always, and invariably with these two products, you should only look at the price tag. There's no trade-off in flavor or aroma. That's a tie. Okay? So if you're going to buy Barton or Carstairs, shop price alone, and I would pick Carstairs because it's $12.99 for that huge bottle. Okay? That would be the only consideration. Now, beyond that, what do I think is which? And then I'll read the last comments and we'll shut this off, because I got to get to the store and then start motivating myself to do that dusting, which is going to take a good hour. Oh, well. I hate dust more than I hate dusting. You see what I mean? Okay. I think this is Carstairs. Got him. Got him. Ha ha ha. I knew it. Somehow I knew it. I don't know why I knew it. I guess I drank enough Carstairs now that I can taste it. Oh, look how much left. I have enough left to do about 5 more taste challenges with this, I believe, don't I? Yeah. Woo. And I have enough of this left to do a whole lot more taste challenges. Dozens. So that's the end of it. Next up, we have Barton versus, oh yeah, what is it? Oh, Club 400. Another fascinating product. Lawrence, is baseball your favorite sport? Not necessarily. I like football. I had season tickets to Tulane. I like basketball. I had season tickets to Southeastern, but scheduling issues made me have to give those up. I like baseball, and I do have season tickets to Southeastern Louisiana. And we've got Alcorn State coming up. Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajuns coming up next week. The big game, Louisiana State University Tigers, LSU. Louisiana State University and A&M Tigers. Louisiana State University and A&M College. That's the full name. You know, LSU Tigers coming into Southeastern Louisiana. It'll be sold out. Luckily, I've already got tickets. Got 2 extra tickets. You want to buy 2 extra tickets? That's going to be a madhouse. I mean, packed. We're talking about absolute. College baseball is not a big deal up north. So like if you go to Michigan or New York City or Seattle, well, wait a minute. I don't even think most of the teams up there have a team, like Washington State. I don't think they have a baseball team. Or, you know, Indiana or Notre Dame's more of a kind of a baseball town, but up there in Indiana, but generally, it's not too big of a deal. It's all major league, you know, which I like to watch. But down here in southeastern Louisiana and in the South in general, Florida, Mississippi, Louisiana, college baseball is such a huge deal. It's front page news. I mean, literally, it's all over the headlines for the news broadcasts and the newspaper. So where you live, if you live in Wisconsin, college baseball might just be nothing to you. But here, it's big, and I mean big. Thousands of people at each game. Up north, it might be dozens of people. So there's a difference. And they have it on TV here, a lot. Vanderbilt and Nashville. Okay, let's see. Have a great day and a safe day. I will be tuned into the channel as always, and cheers from here in Columbus, Georgia. Thanks, OC. I'm about to get off of this. I'm going to start uploading that breakfast stout video. Lawrence says Vanderbilt and Nashville. Yeah. Baseball is a big deal there. Yeah. And University of Tennessee, and even Memphis has a little following, so it's kind of big. I agree. I'm an Astros fan, and I go to every chance I can, says Robert. I went to see the Astros last year with Sean Hall, who y'all see on Facebook a lot, always commenting. We met over there, and after that game, I said, that's it. The Astros have had it. They've gone down the drain. But right at that point is when they started to win. And they win the whole thing. They win the World Series. So Lawrence says, go Reds. I've been to many well, not many, but I have been to the Cincinnati Reds games. Yes, I have been to that stadium, and I liked it a lot. Sure did. Okay. Got pretty good ticket prices too, by the way, I might add. All right, that's it. Had those Sky Conies, the Sky Coney dogs, all that cheese and everything. All right, anyway, thanks for watching this video production. It's a tie, but I was able to tell them apart. The Carstairs has a little bit more sourdough and that charred wood. I'm telling you, it's got a charred wood flavor. You say no, blended whiskey has no character. I say you're wrong. You're not right. That's just my opinion. So not tomorrow, but in a couple of days, let's see. We're going to try to do Barton against Club 400. And I'm very curious about how that's going to work out. Very curious. I'm very curious. Are you curious?